By now, you've probably heard about the news from up at Liberty University where Jerry Falwell Jr. has been put on an indefinite leave of absence by the board. And it kind of gave me the idea to record this video because the way that you present yourself on social media is very important. Because after all, it was a picture that Jerry had posted that kind of got him in hot water. I mean, he'd done all sorts of things that people didn't agree with all through the last several years, going as far back as I remember. I think he had invited Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, if I'm remembering right, to like speak at one of the convocations a couple of years ago. So he was under some criticism from some different alumni and some pastors and so forth when he did that. And so through the years, and then of course with his support of Trump, whether you like that or not, agree with that or not, all of those things, some people agreed, some people didn't. Those things weren't kind of the nail in the coffin for him. What it actually turned out to be was a picture that he posted on social media. And even though he deleted it really quickly, once you post something, it's very difficult to kind of get it back or to, kind of reel it in and act like it didn't happen because you've put it out there. So as youth pastors, you've got to be aware that you are a professional. You're a representative of your church, of your community. And you've got to be aware of those things. Like social media, like when you were in college, it was just kind of a fun thing. You post some pictures of your friends and you hanging out, doing your thing. Oh, I was here. Oh, I was there. Oh, we did this. Oh, we did that. But when you're on staff at a church, when you're on the church's payroll, you are an employee. You are a professional. And so what you post is a reflection, whether you intended it to be or not. It's perceived to be a reflection of the place that you are representing. And so I just wanted to give you a couple of quick tips today, kind of under the heading of pause before you post. So if you're kind of looking for a bottom line for what I'm trying to share in this video, it's simply that. Pause before you post. So 3 quick tips to help you, in that pause. Number 1 is think. Sometimes you might see this, we were touring my kids' classrooms earlier this morning as we intend to go back to school, hopefully. And one of the teachers actually had this acronym there on her wall. And typically it's thought of in terms of before you speak, right? Think before you speak. But for this, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And this goes into a lot of the divisiveness that we feel, that we see and that we come across in different social media and things that people post. Sometimes things are true, but they're not necessarily helpful. They're not necessarily kind. And so you want to really be able to check all those boxes before you post something or repost something that maybe somebody else has posted, or before you reshare something. So you just pause and you think, is it true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind? Another thing that you can do in that pause before you post is to review. Just take a second, take 30 seconds, and review the spelling and grammar in the post that you're about to make. One of the biggest, fastest ways, I think, to undercut your credibility as a reasonable, thoughtful person is to post something with all sorts of grammatical errors, that's laced with spelling errors, and all of that. So just review the different spelling and grammar that are coming across in the post. And then the third step in this little kind of pause before you post process is to consider the multiple audiences that are going to interact with your post. There could be people who are your biggest fans. There could be people who are just, not your biggest fans, who are looking to misconstrue anything that you've said, anything that you've posted in a negative light. And so before you post, just take a second to consider those different audiences that are going to be on the receiving end or the reading end or the watching end of your post. That's one of the things that really, I think, any one of those things, except for the spelling and grammar, obviously, so any one of those things could have prevented Jerry Falwell Jr. from posting that. But notice, I'm not saying anything antagonistic about Mr. Falwell. I'm not saying you might be his biggest fan and supporter, and think that everything he's done is terrific and tremendous. Or you might be somebody who thinks that what he's done for the university and how he's conducted himself is the worst thing ever. I'm not venturing into that conversation in this video. Instead, I'm considering the multiple audiences and trying to provide some help as far as you with your own social media and the way that you conduct yourself. And so that's just one of the things that I'm considering even as I'm recording this video. So pause before you post. Take a second to think, take a second to review, and take a second to consider the different people that are going to interact with that post and how it might be construed. And that's just a couple of ways to keep it professional on social media. And that's important because as a youth pastor, as an employee of your church, you are expected to conduct yourself and carry yourself in professional ways.